Hi, I'm Mars from StrataGames. I just started offering coaching, so if you're interested in having me help you play Pauper, go ahead and check the link in the description. I just did a coaching session that you're about to watch with Aubrey. They are playing Black Sack. This is the list that they're playing, very similar to my stock list, but they made a couple minor changes. Rotten Reunion in the main deck, and a couple minor sideboard changes in Unexpected Fangs. They moved one of the Cursed Marauders to the sideboard. These are some changes they made for their Paper League, and they've been playing the same deck on MTGO to get some more practice with it. They wanted some help specifically on knowing when to hold back with your creatures, when not to cast spells against counterspell opponents, when to be restrained with your sacrifices, or rather when to go all in on a creature to make sure that you can have the best chance of winning. But that's mostly what we talked about. Let's jump right into the session and see how we do.
I think I already sent the list. It's like pretty much almost exactly yours, but
Yeah, I noticed the
I
one of Rotten in the main deck.
yeah, just because I think there's at least especially in like I mean both in like the paper league I'm in and also on MTGO, it seems like there's so many situations where a rotten reunion feels like I found myself so often sideboarding it in that like running a one of like sometimes it will like not be super relevant, but like I think there are plenty of matchups where that one of makes game one a lot more winnable. But maybe that's me playing into a niche too much. Um,
No, I mean I think it's fine. Like I very clearly I really enjoy one ofs, and I've gotten not flack necessarily, but a lot of people who are like, "Do you have a list that's not tons of one ofs?" But I like a lot of
yeah,
one ofs because yeah, you have those outs. I think your red matchup's pretty rough game one if you don't have a Silk Life Staff, things like that.
yeah.
So I have tried some Rotten Reunions in the main deck, and I don't hate it by any means.
Hmm.
I generally find that in the matches where the graveyard is not relevant, then it just underperforms a little bit. But like it is still a double body creature. It's just much more
Yeah.
expensive to do that. And there are a lot of graveyard decks, even like a terror or something. If you're able to snipe a Sleep of the Dead or whatever, can be
Hmm.
really relevant. So I don't think it's bad. And if you want to tune your list to your play style or what you're seeing in leagues, like I think that's totally fine.
Okay. So I guess I'll just hop into one.
Sure.
Or cool. Had some pretty rough matchups for the first two that I was playing earlier today, but
Yeah. What
um,
what matchups were those?
one was Familiars,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one was Pinger Burn.
Okay.
So I think that like usually, I mean, I don't know. I think I've I was I feel like I can do like a little bit better into Pinger Burn, but like I don't know. This it was just I didn't have it that time.
Yeah.
Familiars, I have no clue how to play into. I just I mean, I know like kind of just like getting in there fast, but it feels like it just gets out of control like so quickly.
Yeah, Familiars could be a tough one because they have some counter spells, which are always a pain, and Snap is it's very tough to play around. Like usually, a
Hmm.
Snap from an opponent just reads as a cast down because we usually want to sacrifice our creature in response,
Yeah, yeah.
so they don't get the mana. But occasionally, you will want to bounce your creature if you really need that creature, or you don't think the mana is going to be really relevant for them. But yeah, forcing them to chump block with their creatures as early as possible is definitely what you want against Familiars, but that could be hard to actually make work.
Hmm.
All right. So, what do you think of this opening hand?
I mean, I like to have more land, but two of village rights, like, having that card draw doesn't make me hate it. Um, I think I'd maybe toss it back just to like see if I can get something a little better. Because I mean, like in the event that a carrion feeder is like the carrion feeder gets bounced or killed, it doesn't really have, I'm just kind of hoping for the next good card draw to like have an actual threat on the board. But
Yeah.
I don't know. What would you think?
I think it's a keep. I think
Okay.
generally, I hate keeping one landers, but in this deck with 17 lands and 30 spells that are one mana, you just have to
Hmm.
accept that you have to keep a one lander sometimes.
Okay.
I usually wouldn't keep it if it doesn't have some village rights, but since we have at least one of those, the chances we draw a land in the next 3 or 4 draws, since we're on the draw, are pretty high.
Ooh, it's that what do you call it? Poison storm, isn't it?
Yep,
I feel like
that
I don't.
is
Yeah.
almost definitely what it's going to be.
Okay. Um, so here I don't. I mean, I figure just Swamp Shambler. I'm not super familiar with this deck and like how much removal they have. I know they run like snaps and stuff like that, but I don't know like on curve if that's really what they would be removing a feeder.
Yeah, Snap is going to be the main thing they have. They probably play 3 or 4 copies, but other than that,
Mhm.
probably no interaction. I think we probably do want to lead on Shambler. So in general, I would want to lead on Feeder here because you want to get your aggression as fast as possible. But since we need
Okay.
that second land, I think we want to play the Shambler because we're probably going to be forced to use the Village Rights next turn,
Yeah,
unless of
that's what I
course
was
we top
thinking.
deck it.
Okay, cool.
And if we do top deck a land, we're in a great spot because we can play our Feeder, we can have a Stamina up, or just play a second Shambler, and we can, we're going all in on this Feeder probably,
Hmm.
but if they don't snap it, it's not a big deal.
Okay. So here I figure swing in for one, and would you say like in this kind of matchup, like is it worth I guess going what do you call it, village rightsing it on my turn in case I do hit that extra land,
Yeah,
or
if you're keeping a
okay.
one lander with the hopes of hitting another one with Village Rights, you almost always want to use it right away on your turn because you have 2 more cards to draw to hit that land, and yeah, no reason not to attack for one. So definitely do that first.
Gotcha.
And then if you hit the land, we're in a great spot. Honestly, if you don't, it could be kind of tough because
Hmm.
we're missing a
Yeah.
lot of speed now.
Okay.
Um,
I think I can. Yeah, I can't get rid of anything, so I figure get rid of the chuck a link breaker or the stamina.
I would probably get rid of the Wedding Invitation. It's your most
Oh, okay.
expensive, and they're not going to have any creatures, so the unblockable doesn't matter anyway.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. Okay.
Yeah, so you might not end up
Um,
using all your Link Breakers and your Staminas, but Wedding Invitation definitely does the least here.
yeah.
So we're definitely, always just hoping that they don't do too much. Drawing 3 and
Mhm.
Proliferate's not the best for us.
Yeah.
Although they are going to have to discard, I guess, just one. So what are we doing on our next turn?
Um, well, if depending on if we can draw the swamp, I figure getting the swinging in for one for okay, still not the swamp. I think swinging for one with the squirrel writes the squirrel again, or do we want to get like another fodder in for like so we can like aren't losing the board too much? I mean, I see my instinct would be to swing with the squirrel and then writes it.
Yeah, you have 2 different plays, which is either, yeah, continue digging for the swamp, and if you find it, great. But if you don't find it, you're going to probably lose the game because you have nothing going
Yeah.
on. Or you could play your carrion feeder and you could get that going. So if we do that, you hit for one this turn, they're at 18. Next turn, you have a feeder, a squirrel, and you can play something else. So like a link breaker,
Hmm.
you attack for 4. Like
Yeah.
I think I'd probably go for the feeder.
Yeah,
It's
especially because if we don't hit it, discarding two is pretty.
Yeah, that too. It's a total
Yeah.
waste. Discard 2 and sack your own creature. It's very high risk, high reward. It would be great if we hit the land, but if we don't, I think it's basically as good as conceding. So I think I'd just go for the feeder. And if they don't do anything for a couple of turns, just the feeder, even on 1 mana here, could definitely still win the game.
Yeah, yeah. And especially with the consumption, if we need that little bit of extra.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, there's the point in poison counters.
Yep. So your clock is running out,
Hmm.
but it really just depends on their follow up. If they don't have much else going on, we're not in a bad spot. They
Yeah,
play
because
like
I figure. Sorry to
no, go ahead.
interrupt. Because I figure that for last turn, I think that was the first poison counter one that they drew because of using Vivisurgent's Insight last turn. But like now, I guess they're kind of on that train now, or they can reload pretty easily.
Yeah. Yeah, they probably did not have the prologue until they drew 3.
Mhm.
Either that or they didn't have anything else to spend their mana on, but yeah.
Okay, rough. Um, I mean, here I would probably just swing in for two and hope I get the second land because I feel like after this point, I don't know how much I'd be able to recover if I don't hit it by like next turn.
Yeah, I think that's probably fine. I would say that I'd probably do some math here and see like how long it takes us to kill them just by playing our spells on 1 mana.
Yeah.
So like if we attack for
So
2 here, or yeah, go ahead.
yeah, because I think, oh yeah, because if we can swing in for two nested shambler for the potential of swinging in with all of them, stamina-ing the shambler and then getting the wider board and like hopefully being able to grow of the feeder enough off of just the Shambler and the 3 squirrels and it coming back.
Yeah, if you play a Shambler here, attack for 2, next turn stamina, you can attack for 8, and then you can have him dead the following turn. So that's a 3-turn clock, which is not bad at all. It loses pretty bad to a snap, but that's kind of the position we're in.
Yeah.
And
So yeah, that's
yeah. Okay. I think I would probably take that safer line as opposed to going for a Village Rites here. Just because, again, Village Rites with no swamp is probably just losing, but this, we actually have a pretty fast clock. So if they stumble a little bit or just don't have a snap, we might still be able to get them.
Totally.
This also, if we do just top deck a swamp, I think we're like 2 damage short of killing them, because we can stamina the Shambler, sack it, stamina again.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be 4, 10, 12 damage, I think. So I guess we're 4 short. But yeah, despite the fact that we have 1 land and things aren't going amazingly, they still don't have a ton of time. We get them in a couple turns here.
Yeah.
In general, I like this. I think this matchup's pretty decent for us because they don't have a ton of interaction and we are pretty fast. But obviously any hand that you keep trying to draw another land that you don't find is going to be rough.
Don't mind them losing life.
Yeah, that is pretty good for us. Well,
yeah, there it is. Okay.
That's the opposite.
Shit, yeah.
I mean, they're getting 9, so our clock's a little worse.
Mm-hmm.
But we're only at 4 poison. We still might be okay.
So if I swing in, that would be 5, putting them down to 18. Then I have a pretty wide board if I sack to the net and sack the nested Shambler. I figure that I would probably swing in, stamina the Shambler, and then sack it at the end of the turn. And if I don't get, I figure that that's probably the best bet I have, because I think Beetle here is probably too slow, I would assume, unless I swing in Beetle, sack a squirrel maybe going forward. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the Beetle, it would be a little slow if they were still on like 14, but now that they're back up to 23, I think it might be the way to forward. Because we could attack for 3, they're back at 20, we play the Beetle, next turn, if we don't draw a land, we can stamina onto the Shambler. That's 6 triggers, plus the squirrel, 7. So we can have 16 damage between our Beetle and our feeder. But then if we actually get a swamp, we can present lethal next turn with the Beetle. So Beetle actually doubles the damage we're outputting next turn. So swamp is our best draw, but like Beetle is a pretty good second there.
Yeah, doubling the possible output we have, especially if we can swamp stamina swinging with the gang.
Yeah, exactly. And if we don't die, there's also a chance they cast another Weather the Storm, so we want as much sustainable damage as possible, which is what you get out of the feeder and the Beetle, as opposed to like the Vampire, which is, all in one and goes away.
Yeah. Okay, so proliferating.
Yep. We're half dead. They have 9 cards, which is a lot. But yeah, I mean, best case scenario, they tap out, we draw a swamp, and then stamina wins us the game.
Mm-hmm. Drawing more.
Yeah. I mean, they're floating all their mana here. They played a swamp. So if they snap here, things are bad. But if not, they're not going to have mana to hold up for anything relevant. Unless they play like a Pentet Prism.
Yeah, because I think that this, I mean, even though... Oof.
Yep. Yeah. That changes things. Like the 29.
Well, it's not a snap.
It's not a snap.
Okay. Swamp? Nope. Swing in. It'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, going down to 23. I mean, yeah, I think I'm probably cooked here. I would.
Unless they've drawn really poorly.
Yeah, I mean, my instinct would be just to swing in stamina on the Shambler, sack the Shambler at the end of turn, and hope for the best next turn. But assuming I'm probably going to be conceding there.
I like the stamina here, but I wouldn't sack at end step. I think I would just go almost all in on the sacrificing right away to get the damage in now.
Okay.
Except I would keep our Shambler on the field for another stamina next turn.
Yeah, so sacking... Okay, so just getting in as much damage as possible here by sacking all the squirrels as well. Okay, gotcha.
Because I think you can get in for 12 damage plus keeping the Shambler around, and then if we have another stamina next turn, we can get in for 12, like 30-ish.
I can stamina there.
Yep, and I would even sack the attacking squirrel because you get in for 1 extra damage.
Yeah.
So they only have to give us 4 poison counters or maybe a snap or something. But if they can't do that and they don't snap and they don't, do another big weather, we could definitely deal them lethal next turn. So it's not looking great, but we've, I think, given ourselves the best chance of winning, given, based on the cards we've drawn.
Yeah. But yeah, as for like what I was saying, like for example, like those sorts of, I guess that's like the example of, I mean, I guess not so much like holding back, but like sort of those lines of plays of like when hitting those village rights versus when to keep building up the board in this sort of situation of like being stuck on one land and having limited resources and making the most of them.
Yeah, I think thing you always have to keep in mind, or you have to kind of calculate out, is like, how quick is my clock? Like, if you don't go for the village rights line and you just play off of one land, can I kill them in, like, I would say 3-ish turns is like the max. If it's no, it's going to take 4 or 5 turns, then it's like, well, maybe we need to expedite it with the village rights. But if you still have a reasonable 3-turn clock that might be faster than them, then usually I would want to do that. But the deck is very much about taking risks and not playing it safe, so it's hard to know when to do that for sure.
Yep. I guess we would, I assume we would want to, because if we swing in with these 2 and that's 7 next turn, I can't close out with a village rights. I would just let it go back to the hand, or
well, it's going to be 8 if you sacrifice the feeder, because the beetle is going to grow.
Yeah.
So it's 8, and then 8 again if the next turn, theoretically, if we're still alive. And a stamina could make it so you still have a 2-turn clock. I would say you don't have the mana to redeploy the feeder, and you don't have the time to build it back up. So I would sacrifice it to itself.
Okay.
Because you can't, there's not really time to play it again or anything, and you might as well cut them off of 4 mana here.
No, 100%.
And unfortunately, every single time we do this, it's like, oh, we have we have a 2-turn clock, and then we have a 2-turn clock, and they keep extending it. Yeah, unfortunately, the snap's probably going to be the end there.
Because even if we draw there, they only have to get... they're probably going to proliferate again. They only need 2 more poison counters there. So I figure that's... Yeah, I just concede here, probably.
Yeah, so. I think that's totally reasonable. But up until the end there, I think we did have a fair shot at winning that one. Until the double snap.
Yeah. So I figure here I'd probably get in the Mesmeric Fiends. Yep. So I can get rid of some of their card draw.
Yes, I like that a lot.
Invitation, no. Life Staff, I can toss back. Rotten Reunion is kind of dead there. I mean, well, I do have a couple of... I feel like this list I've seen like some things with flashback, but I don't know if it's enough to like use a slot up on it.
They often bring in, if they don't have them in the main deck, a couple moments piece, which flashes back and has fog and fogs the board. So I personally like a couple of Rotten Reunions. I like bringing them in.
Okay.
Because it is just fodder if nothing else, but like getting rid of an extra fog can be really good.
Probably chuck back in the Marauder and 2 Link Breakers for the rest, because I feel like statistically we can maybe get some progress with on like a Shambler or a Beetle, because then it at least kind of splits up their desires of like snapping something that can actually grow and sack versus something that's just growing passively.
Yeah, I like keeping the statistically in. I would take out the Shambling Ghasts rather than the Nezumi Link Breakers, because you don't have anything to ping down, and the treasure can be relevant, but it's usually just more relevant to have 2 bodies on one.
Cool.
But yeah, otherwise I like that sideboard a lot.
I'd keep this. I like, especially if I can get Carrion Feeder turn 1, turn 2 Mesmeric Fiends, and to maybe deny them some card draw there.
Yeah, this sounds great.
Cool. And then I have the Link Breakers that I could use as something the village rights there. Feels like a good game plan.
I agree. I think Feeder Fiend is probably your best start against this opponent, because they only play about 5 cards that actually poison you. So if you're able to snipe the one that they maybe kept in their hand, you can delay them from actually giving you any poison counters for a very long time. Or you could just take a draw 3 or whatever, and that could be really good too.
Oh, okay. So the Moments piece, I see the Moments piece, and I think that's like kind of interest. Like later, I might go for it, but I feel like denying them the card draw this early might be a little bit better. that I don't know. That might be short-sighted of me there. But like, I think I could survive one moment's peace and like hoping that I could get a rotten reunion to get in the way of that to exile it from the graveyard a little bit later. But delaying their card draw feels very powerful right now.
Yeah, I think I like that. They
Cool.
both have some merits, but seeing as they kept a hand that is not very good and is all reliant on drawing a new card with that augury and delaying us with the moment's peace, we take the augury away, and now they're just draw going for like forever. And if they want a moment's peace, now that we know about it, we just play a little bit more slow. We don't go quite as all in probably, but still presenting enough damage that they might want to moment's peace. It can be good.
I think I'd probably, because I wanna try and play with this clock in mind. I'd probably Link Breaker and Sage here. So I have something that, or because I don't think they're going to be snapping or dealing with anything this early, and that gives me multiple targets that I can either sack or village rights into.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay.
I would probably play out a couple fodder creatures. I'd probably sack 2 or 3 of the bodies to make your carrion feeder pretty formidable, pretty fast clock. So we have to so we can start forcing the moment's peace. But then keep maybe one creature around for a village rights, something like that. Although we have another piece of fodder in hand, so we could just go sacrifice all 4 halves of these creatures, attack for 6. We have a 3-turn clock. Of course, knowing there's a moment's peace that's going to force that to be slower. I think that's another way you could take it.
Well, moment's peace, 2 mana. What's this for blue? I mean, I feel like getting in for 6 here is a pretty solid move, especially knowing they can't. Yeah, I think that them forcing them to want to use that moment's peace sooner rather than later, and having to make them choose between using their mana on damage prevention as opposed to more card draw, which they are kind of hurting for right now.
Yeah, I think that's good. Cool. If they had just top decked a snap, that gets blown out pretty badly by that. But I think it was still the right play. I think you just got to go for it and hope they whiff on a couple draws here.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I'll wait until after they play to say that.
And yeah, if we are lucky enough to draw a rotten reunion here or in the next couple draws, we can definitely cut that moment's peace short, which could be good.
Woodlot pass. So I assume maybe they have the snap.
They could. They also just have only
waiting.
drawn 2 cards. They might just not do anything. It could be like a Vivisurgeon's Insight, Lorien Revealed that they can't cast. They don't currently have black mana, so it could be an Infectious Inquiry.
Here I would Link Breaker, swing in for 6, and try and see if they Moment's Peace. I feel like I want to get the Moment's Peace out of their hand sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Just hold up potentially 8 damage, assuming they Moment's Peace here, and
gotcha. I think I might just
still have
play the Link Breaker and draw 2 to kind of get more information and see what's going on. Because you could sacrifice both halves of this creature to the Carrion Feeder, then you have nothing to sacrifice to the Village Rights. So, I maybe would have done it before attacks even, just so that you could have seen, because maybe you could have drawn like another fodder creature to play, or just know what you're going to be drawing. But it's probably not a big deal, but more information that you can have earlier is usually better, though.
Gotcha. Okay.
They could also have like a Weather the Storm, and they're just waiting for us to cast a bunch of spells to gain some life off of it. That could make the Village Rights play worse, but I don't necessarily think that means we don't want to play things.
Okay, so there's the Moment's Peace.
Yeah, and they floated an extra green and blue here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess only could have been worse.
Yeah, so it would play it out a little better not to play the Village Rights in this case until after combat, because they gained 3 less life.
And then here at Village Rights, the Link Breaker, see what we get.
Yep, I think so. If you just play this Carrion Feeder this turn, that's not the end of the world. But if you get like a Beetle, you'd much prefer to play that. Or you could
Unearthing the Mesmeric Fiend.
In general, I don't hate that. However, I think we already know 3 of their 4 cards. Forest Island.
Yeah.
So I don't think we want to do it this turn. We probably just want to do it next turn. So I would probably play the Carrion Feeder here, so that if they have a snap, you can go in on a different creature. And these can both be attacking, and you can play the Sage and sacrifice it next turn.
Totally.
But you can also kind of clear the way with the Mesmeric Fiend to make sure there's no snap. Mm-hmm. And I know, because I'm talking a lot, I just want to call attention to, we have about 8 minutes left.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
So
Yeah, I was just about to say, so I'm gonna probably try and play a little faster, and we
Yeah,
could talk about it after if need be.
sounds good.
Damn, not even having this stuff to. Huh. Okay.
Yeah, that's great for us if they have to start sacking lands.
Yeah. So they can't. They can't. Moment's Peace here. Yeah, they can't Moment's Peace here.
They can't flash back a Moment's Peace. They could have another
Yeah,
inherent.
I would first thing first unearth here the Fiend.
Yep, sounds great. They drew a bunch of cards, so there's bound to be something to take, and good to know what we're walking into.
Draw Pentad. Some. I would say 2 mana, draw a card. I guess I'd probably go for the Manamorphose or one of them.
I think I'd take the Steady Progress. Their 2 lands currently only tap
Oh
for green,
yeah,
and they have to sack them. And if you get the Progress, then they don't have a way to proliferate and keep them alive.
Okay. And I mean, get this. I don't want to know if I want to go full Hellbent here, but then again, I guess if they don't have a way to, I mean, I want to get in for as much damage as possible here. I figure.
Yep, I don't think there's a reason
maybe just going
to keep
for
any cards. They do have the Manamorphose, which they could play and maybe draw into another Fog or something, but they have to burn a land to do that, so that's good for us.
Split up the power on the carrion feeders, I assume.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Yep.
And here, as far as like Restraint, I would probably just make sure you have enough damage to deal to win next turn. So right here, you're going to be dealing 11. So I'd probably just leave the rest of your fodder on the board. No need to go even further. Obviously, that could change if they like Weather the Storm, but that could be, you know, it's impossible to calculate how much life they could gain off of a Weather the Storm, because it could be 3 or it could be 30.
Okay.
So they're doing that just to keep their lands alive.
So we know the rest. So I figure they're probably gonna Metamorphose. You're gonna just trying to get something.
Yeah, they could do it on our turn potentially to like I don't know, build up a Weather the Storm or something. But yeah, they probably just want to go for it here, because if they get a Weather the Storm, they can also play the Prism and gain some more life. But yeah, they do still have the Moment's Peace in the grave, so we don't actually have lethal here through that, unfortunately. But if they are not able to draw life gain or snap or anything, then we might be able to get them in 2 turns here.
Green. I guess they were hoping for. I mean, I guess they could Pentad Prism to Metamorphose again. Or no, green and blue. Yeah, they could still Metamorphose it.
Yeah, I mean, they'll probably Morphose, depending on what they've drawn before the Prism, because they wouldn't want to burn the Prism on the Morphose.
Yeah.
And they need to leave up 3 mana for the Flashback Moment's Peace. But yeah, I assume just they do go for the Prism.
Okay. I figure just swing in, force the Moment's Peace, and pass, I guess, and wait so we can respond with something, or...
Yep, yeah.
Because they have lethal, they have to...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you already have lethal, we don't want to do anything, we just want to force them to do something, and then stamina doesn't really do anything for our creatures right now, so...
That's another one gone, I think. Or no, that was the... Yep, there's the Moment's Peace. Okay.
Alright, and just hope they draw poorly, which is one of the main themes of this deck.
Yeah.
So they have Morphos, Island, and 2 unknown cards. So one of their best draws would be a Snap to hit our big Carrion Feeder. We could Stamina in response and then sack it to the Feeder. That would leave us with 8 power. So if we draw any double body creature, we would still have lethal next turn. Actually, no, with the Mercenaries, we should already still have lethal, because they can pump and then be sacrificed. Yeah, so I think one Snap of it doesn't help them.
Oh yeah, I figured they would have to, like, snap... Yep. Drawing. Okay, another land in the graveyard.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I figure they need another Moment's Peace or like snap Weather the Storm here, but I don't know if they can get that.
Yeah.
I guess they could. Actually, no. Hamlet. Cool.
Yeah, I think they played their land, so they have the 2 mana from the Prism, which could still be a Moment's Peace or a Weather the Storm. They would have to burn the Prism to do that, which is good for us, but obviously them not dying is worse.
And I figure here we can... Yep, there's a...
Okay. Yeah, so they're at 20, and we have 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 damage.
Here I would write the insect token to see if I can maybe get another body to pump.
Sounds great. We're only a couple damage away, so yeah, if we find something good, we can do that. Shambler's great.
Shambler.
Shambler plus stamina and Mercenary onto the Shambler should definitely be lethal. Because 5, I mean, I guess actually it's 10, 5. Actually, it might not be quite lethal. Well, you have mercenaries. I mean, we
Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine.
Just
5, 6. Yeah, go for it. 5, 6, 7, 8. I think it's lethal. I just got scared for a second that it was a little short, but I believe with the mercenaries it should be exactsies. Yeah, 20 damage.
Cool. Okay. Now I speed run the game.
Yes. Yeah.
For this
I
one.
will commentate very little, maybe none, just so you can go as quick as possible.
Yeah.
So we don't time out. I would say, particularly though, keep a very fast hand in this case.
I mean, I guess I could Beetle, Shambler, Writes the Shambler. I'd toss this. I'd keep.
I think I'd keep.
Yeah.
It's tough. You really need a carrion feeder or a vampire, but if you find one, game is pretty much won. And I'd probably just go like play a beetle first, and then next turn beetle shambler, and then the following turn you can stamina rights.
Mm-hmm.
And ideally you find a carrion feeder, which pumps up your beetles, but even that is 2/2/2 beetles and 4 1/1s, which is still a pretty fast clock.
Yeah.
Reunion's also a nice draw because if they do have a moment's peace, that can take the second half away.
Yeah. I feel like this is either a really good top 3 or a really bad, considering how much time they're taking.
Yeah, seems about right. It could just be like I mean, it'd be really good if it is, but like it could be, oh, do I need a snap or weather the storm? Like, which of those cards is good?
Yeah.
Or it could just be, which of these draw spells is good.
I figured, yeah, just so we can set up for stamina village rights there.
Yep. And then, assuming they don't have, snap or anything up, and we don't draw anything else, like a carrion feeder, stamina onto the shambler, hit for 5 village rights. And then if we draw land, we might be able to play something else afterwards.
Figure auto pass this, just the rest there.
Yeah, definitely any turn where we don't have anything to do.
Okay. I would Sage here.
I'd probably shambler.
Or Shambler? Okay.
Sage, the flying is irrelevant, and the shambler if you get another stamina or something. Not that we have a way to sack it, but theoretically, if we draw village rights,
higher potential
into exactly. We already have a shambler, but maybe we get 2 staminas, whatever.
I don't think they run any electrickery or
Sometimes there's a breath weapon in the sideboard.
Yeah.
And if there is right now, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the hand that we had, you just kind of had to go for it and hope there's no breath weapon. And if we get a sack outlet, we can at least get the beetles above that. Mm-hmm. But yes, sometimes they play it in the main deck. Usually it's more of a sideboard thing, but it is generally something to watch out for. But again, sometimes you just have a hand that loses to a specific card and you just got to hope.
Yeah, that's the black sack signature.
Exactly.
And then I'm like, this hand could win the game in 3 turns, or lose to a single card.
Yep. Classic.
Yeah,
right.
But I like that kind of thing. It's exciting.
I enjoy it pretty well. Yeah. All right, carrion feeder off the top.
Assume trying to okay, there we go. Oh yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully they don't have a moment's peace or a weather or anything, and we can just win.
I figure sacking all the squirrels, leave up the shamblers, or
yeah, I think that's good. I'd probably start with the sage since it's not attacking, and you generally want to start with creatures that have a trigger because there's a moment where you don't have that creature that comes back. But yeah, I would also probably just go for the bare minimum of what you need as far as damage. So this should be 11, so 2 more sacrifices should do it, just in case they have anything tricky. So 1 more count. Yeah, that's 14 damage.
Should I keep sacking? Or...
No, I would just leave it. You're already presenting lethal, so they have to do something or they lose.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So if they don't do anything, we win. And if they do, then we want to have as many options as possible. There's Weather the Storm. Okay. So that's going to put them to 23. Can we kill them still? Because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is 14 damage. So if you sacrifice everything, you could win still, including
I figure
actually
including the carrion feeder.
Including the carrion feeder, but you actually don't have to sack the feeder because you can rotten reunion and then sacrifice the zombie you get.
I feel like the most dangerous part about this is the potential for running out of time. Because I can't auto these damn beetles anymore.
Yeah, that is a very unfortunate thing that they updated. That I asked them to change, and we've heard nothing back about it. But yeah, I can get rid of whatever. You're at 18 damage. So yeah, if you sack all 3 of those, That should be 24. They only have 1 mana. I don't think there's anything they can have for 1 mana, but... All right.
Let's go.
Very nice.
We love to see it.
That's what I love about the deck is that, like, even through a Weather the Storm or whatever, you can just get them for 1,000,000 damage.
Yeah, cool. Hell yeah.
Nice.
Should I just run another, or do you want to
could
chat about that a little, or
whichever you want to do? If you have any questions or any comments, feel free. I was able to say most of what I had during the game, but
yeah. I mean, I've never done like a coaching thing before. Oh, well, for
Sure.
Magic, in non-Magic things, I've had coaching. But yeah. So like, I don't know. I mean, like, what if there was something that if you think you want to just like run into another and see maybe a more like, I don't know. It'd be nice if we could get something that's a bit more a little less niche of a matchup, like maybe like a Blue Fairies or
Yeah.
Terror or something like that would be kind of nice.
Yeah, I would say go for another one.
Cool.
But yeah, I would say on that. Oh, sorry, you have something.
No, yeah, because I think that there is like that does sort of like that idea of like thinking about if they don't have like if it's something them not having something like knowing when to village rights or use a resource sooner rather than later so you can get more information as opposed to when to use that village rights like to hold it up in case they have like removal. I feel like that distinction is kind of a thing that I sometimes struggle with a little bit, and even with that kind of weird matchup, it's still
it can be tough. Definitely in a match like that where they don't have a ton of removal, it's not as hard. It's just like, oh, well, I might as well use it. But yeah, if you're against like a red or something, it's definitely more important.
Another one lander, just vibes based because of last game. I kind of want to throw it back, but also, I mean, it's not. I mean, I don't know. I think that not having any draw makes me want to throw it back. Like having to even a cursed Marauder, needing to bank on by like what turn 3, hoping we just hit a land, feels. I don't know. I guess a land or card draw. It's doable, but I would want to throw it back personally.
Yeah. Yep, I agree with you. If you had card draw, I could definitely see keeping it. If you had a carrion feeder with those 2 beetles, you could get greedy because like that's a really good combo. But generally, no village rights. I don't want to keep.
I would keep this. Throw back maybe the Glee, because we have the card draw and like picking up either a swamp or a fodder feels pretty possible.
Yeah, I don't love it because you have you have 4 cards that want to sacrifice creatures, and you don't have any creatures you want to sacrifice.
Yeah. Okay.
That said, on a mulligan to 6, I probably wouldn't throw this back. So yeah, I would probably keep, and I'd probably get rid of the life staff. If you go up against red or Rakdos Madness, you're gonna regret it. But like when you're on a mulligan, every card needs to be really good in any situation, and like. If you have to sack one of these carrion feeders to a village rights, which is a very real possibility, then all you have left is a feeder and a sadistically. So I'd rather that, which can maybe win the game on its own, rather than a feeder and a life staff, which is not going to win the game on its own.
Okay, got an island pass probably.
All right, island pass is always scary because it can mean just about anything. That's a good draw.
I don't think they would ever. I doubt someone would counter the Sage, but it is our only piece of. Well, I mean, of course, I'll swing in.
Well, but... I will say that when you see an island, you always got to ask yourself, what could my opponent be playing? One of the things they could be playing is fairies. And if they're playing fairies, they could have a Brinebearer Intruder, which if they flash that in, could just eat your carrion feeder.
Oh, okay.
So because of that, I probably would have played the Infestation Sage pre-combat, because you want to get the Sage down here anyway, so you have something to village rights next turn. And then if they have a Brinebearer, you could sacrifice it to keep your carrion feeder alive. If they have a Brinebearer now, you're kind of forced to like village rights your carrion feeder. Well, there's a Humbling Elder, which is basically the same card.
Same thing. Okay, that's.
So
okay, my mistake.
Yeah. Definitely a bit of a mistake. So yeah, whenever I see an island, I think it's going to be either fairies, terror, or high tide usually. I will say, since we attacked with the carrion feeder into the Humbling Elder, and the
Mhm.
feeder was going to die anyway. At that point, I probably would have gone for the village rights so that you can hopefully draw a swamp.
Okay.
Since you basically already lost your creature, you might as well just draw 2 off of it then.
Gotcha.
But yeah, in general,
Yeah.
an untapped blue land could be, Humbling Elder or something.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, going for that was me getting a little flustered there, going for the infestation sage, not gonna lie. I was just like, oh god. I was a little embarrassed.
no, that's all right. It happens. I did want to go back
Um,
to something you said. You were talking about them countering the infestation sage. The question you have to ask yourself is, what spell are they going to use to counter a creature with just 1 blue mana? Because there's not
yeah.
a lot of them. Spell Pierce, Dispel, a lot of the 1 mana spells don't actually counter creatures. The only one they could really have had is Force Spike, which does see a little bit of play in fairies, but not a ton.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have been very scared that the Sage would have gotten countered there, is all I'm trying to say.
Gotcha.
But okay, now we know they have a Humbling Elder back in hand, and they're probably just going to pass that up. So what are you thinking here?
I'm thinking on that note we were saying before, because if we swing in with the sage, they would just Humbling Elder. They could just Humbling Elder. They would just run the same thing back. But if we can do, I'd say, because village rights, I mean, we're still left with a body on the board, but I feel like Carrion Feeder feels a little bit more proactive, and so that's more what I'm leaning towards.
Yeah. I think already with 1 swamp and them having a ninja down, I think we need to be a little more reactive.
Oh, okay.
So you could try to village rights your sage for a swamp, and then even if you don't find a swamp, you still at least have an insect which can block the Moon Circuit Hacker. Now, of course, they could have a Humbling Elder to win that combat. We could attack with the sage here to try to draw out the Humbling Elder, knowing we're going to village rights our creature anyway.
Yeah.
I kind of like that, but of course we run into the same issue we had last match, which is if we don't draw a swamp, we're kind of in a rough spot.
Yeah. Let them the breaks.
Yeah, and they might sense a trap here in some way and not cast the Elder, but they're fine with it. Yeah. And this way, since we drew it out, if they don't have another one, then it's possible the insect that we'll get will be able to actually trade with the Moon Circuit Hacker.
And here just writes it.
Yep.
Cool.
Right, hit our swamp.
And here, get the Carrion Feeder out, or have something. No, the Link Breaker, so we have more stuff to trade in.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a tough call. I think I might get the Carrion Feeder down, because this way you can block with the insect token. If they have something like another Elder, you can sacrifice the insect token so you don't lose the value off of it. And we get a threat starting to grow. And also, making sure to get your most important cards down when they're tapped out, like Carrion Feeder, is really important. Because if they just pass any of these turns, which they will start doing with 2 mana up, then we're not going to be able to get a Carrion Feeder through a Spell Stutter or a Counterspell.
I figure here into Moon Circuit Hacker.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
In general, it is good to try to save insects for fairies because there are only flying creatures, but you really don't want a ninja to connect. So.
And here, letting the ninja die better than feeding the Carrion Feeder, right?
Yep. Yeah, if they want to go for the trade, I think we're good with that.
Cool. Okay, I figure Beetle could get counterspelled, but it's not the end of the world if they do it. I maybe lead with the Link Breaker, then the Mortician Beetle swing in, or...
Well, yes, with at least 2 blue mana, you got to assume your first spell is getting countered, or could get countered.
Yeah.
So the question is it worth it to get a Beetle counter to get a Link Breaker through, or vice versa?
I would say I figure worth getting a breaker countered for a beetle to get through, but not vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that. The problem is that Link Breakers are only fodder. So if we have a beetle and a Carrion Feeder, they don't do much without other creatures. Now, of course, the Marauder, if that resolves, can grow your beetle. I think I might... kind of what you're thinking. I think I might bait with the Link Breaker. And if it gets countered, we go for a beetle. But if it doesn't get countered, we just pass and hold up our village rights.
Yeah, just let Sleeping Dog... Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it's not the best. I wish we had 3 mana here so we could also get through a Sadistically or something else. Mm-hmm. But yes, kind of gotta do what you figure.
Can do the beetle here because 1 mana. I don't think they're gonna. Beetle pass here.
Yep, I think that's good. Okay. Again, the only thing they could probably counter the beetle with is going to be a Force Spike, which if they're playing Force Spike, you're going to get gotten by it sometimes. You can't really play around
Yeah.
it. Whereas you can play around Spell Pierce and things like that.
Looks like, yeah.
Well, there you go. It does happen sometimes. I will say, something to note is they attacked with the Humbling Elder last turn and they didn't use a ninja with it. Which might mean they might not have a ninja, or it might mean that they wanted to hold up the Force Spike and the Spell Stutter. Of One Mind and Fairy Seer. Yeah, Force Spike is pretty decent when it gets you.
Yeah.
So good to know for the rest of this game and also the next games that they are playing Force Spike.
They have the 2 mana, so I figure first spell next turn is going to be countered.
Yep. We potentially can't play anything next turn. Kind of depends on what we draw, but we like a sadistically on the Carrion Feeder doesn't do anything good for us. Village Rites of Feeder isn't where we want to be, and yeah.
I'm leaning to. I could see trying to bait with a sadistically to get a shambling gas down, but I think in reality, I think it might just be a pass to next turn.
Yeah. I think the sadistically doesn't. We want to put that on some other creature, probably, like a ghast or something. I think you either pass or you could just play out the Marauder because it's expensive. You can't really double spell with it anyway, and maybe it eats a creature. If it gets Spell Stutter Sprite, it's not great. Ideally, we're trying to run them out of counter spells. Obviously, if they get ninjas and pick up the sprites, that's going to be pretty tough. But because we're pinched on mana and Village Rites, if we can ever resolve that, will get us more cards. I think using our mana here for the Marauder is probably okay. Although it's 2 mana kill a Humbling Elder, which isn't necessarily great. At best.
But it's something. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that eating a full counter spell, I'm very okay with. Of course, that could just mean they have a bunch of them. Who knows? But Double Miscreant's pretty good. I would say Shambling Ghast is really good in this match, so having it is nice. So assuming we can get it to resolve, it can pick off a Moon Circuit Hacker or a Spell Stutter Sprite or anything like that.
Shambling Ghast gets countered definitely. 2 cards in hand. They might be faking it. I feel like at this point it's getting pretty out of control pretty quickly.
Yep.
So that makes me just be like, see if I can get the Shambling Ghast down just for to have any sort of anything on the field, because otherwise next turn they have 5 on the board. That puts me down to 7. The clock's running out, and I think that the Shambling Ghast is the only thing that might kind of give me a little fodder, maybe let me Village Rites. Otherwise, I don't think there's anything.
Yeah, I think you got to do it now. You could also potentially go for the Vampire. Maybe you can in the next 2 turns build up enough creatures and get a Rite of Consumption or something, but probably not. Yeah, them having to counterspell.
Yeah.
Pretty rough. And at that point, I might just sadistically onto the Carrion Feeder, but I think seeing as it can't block, they have a 2-turn clock here, and we have nothing really going for us. It's not going great.
Pretty close to scooping on this next turn, just for the sake.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, all their mana up. I can see if the Beetle gets through, but I'm pretty sure that'll be all for me.
Yeah, I'd probably Village Rites the Carrion Feeder. I guess there's a world maybe where you draw the perfect 2 cards and can do something, and I just like to see more cards. But I don't think Beetle does anything here. Maybe if you get I don't know, probably not those.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean you could play a Shambler. Technically, it keeps you alive, but I do think that game would have been a lot better if we hadn't thrown away our feeder right at the beginning. I think keeping that feeder was crucial, and I think we might have had a decent shot if we had not lost it.
Gotcha. Here, Drown in Sorrow, get the Fiends in as well to maybe get rid of either bait the counter spells or take away some things.
Yep.
I don't think anything else. I'd probably take Wedding Invitation. We want to get stuff anyway, right? So if they're blocking, we like that.
Yep. 100%.
Sadistically is probably not worth it.
Yeah, they have snaps and probably bind the monsters and things like that from sideboard, so it gets a little risky to have the Glees.
What else we got? We can take out Life Staff as well. We'd rather be playing stuff. Take out that Marauder.
Yep. Yeah, Life Staff, the life can be relevant, but it's not the best here. Marauder doesn't really kill what we need it to.
And then lastly, a Link Breaker, because we want to have those Infestation Flyers, and the rest are just kind of a little better.
Yeah, I would say that I'd probably bring in the Tragic Slip and the Rusalka too. Having some
Okay.
single target removal for a Spell Stutter Sprite on the stack or a Key Ninja or something like that can be really important.
In the place of, say, the Rotten Reunion,
I would cut.
Rusalka.
Yeah, I'd cut the Reunion since the graveyard doesn't matter here. And generally, I cut Rite of Consumption for this match because they have so many counter
Gotcha.
spells that it's just really hard to get through. Your goal is just to basically win through feeders and beetles and maybe a vampire if you're lucky.
Cool. Yeah. Okay.
All right, lovely
Um,
one land hands.
yeah, for real. I could feeder turn one, or no, shambler turn one, so I can maybe village rights it to get a second land. I'm feeling hurt by one land hands right
Yeah,
now though.
in general, as I've said,
So
I would sometimes I would keep this hand, but I don't think a one land hand almost ever wins against fairies
yeah,
because they can just counter, especially with Force Spike. They could even counter your fodders on turn one or
yeah.
turn two rather. Yeah, I don't think we can keep it.
This you don't think you could keep this or
No,
first
sorry,
one?
the first one. This one
Yeah.
is acceptable, not super exciting, but we have a
Toss back the
fodder.
breaker.
Yep, yeah, the flyers are really good here, and stamina is nice. Vampires are only sack outlet. Yeah, it's not a bad hand by any means, but it's very all in on vampire so far. So the worst part about playing against fairies is that anytime they have any blue mana up, just a single blue mana, it basically means you can't attack with anything that dies to a Brine Bearer or a Humbling Elder, as we saw. And so I've had matches where I've had to pass like 6 turns in a row just because I don't have anything to attack in.
Maybe we know they have the force spike and getting blood thrown gone sucks.
Yeah.
But I would say maybe Infestation Sage, Rusalka,
Yeah, I think so.
or
I think I do Rusalka first, to be honest, because
oh,
you want
okay,
that to get countered less from a force spike, right? Because now if you go for the Rusalka and they force spike it, it's rough. Sage is really good to have still, but like a Rusalka being able to pick off a spell
gotcha,
stutter or whatever is really good.
gotcha. Okay,
If you're really scared of the force spike, you could just pass here, and I don't necessarily think that's terrible. Or we could just play the Rusalka,
um,
which it is best to have down because next turn if they'll leave up spell stutter sprite, then you can't get the
yeah,
Rusalka down.
I'm gonna
But
if they have yeah, cool.
all right.
Can't attack,
Yep.
especially if they're not countering the Rusalka.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
All right. But yeah, if we draw a land and are able to like play a vampire around Force Spike, and then Rusalka can get like a spell stutter, then we're in a decent spot.
And figure block with the Infestation Sage here if he goes through with it.
Yeah, I'd probably double block with the sages.
Okay.
They might have another intruder, but then that just kills one of our sages and that's not a big
Yeah.
deal. And if they trade here, that's pretty good for us.
Cool.
Nice. That's great. And obviously we don't want a ninja coming down, so very nice. That's
Okay.
also really good. They tapped out to play a creature that is basically irrelevant against our board, so that's great.
Yeah. I mean, I figure since they're tapped out, getting down a Bloodthrone Vampire here, because if they attack, I can block. Whereas if or I guess I could also Rusalka, sack the Infestation Sage, get the Shambler out. But I feel like getting the Vampire out while they have nothing to counter it with seems
Yep.
good.
100%. Definitely get a vampire down here. Ideally, we can get down Shambler Stamina next turn, but that's only going to be very good if we have a vampire out. So yeah, definitely want to do that. And since they only have one creature,
and I
we can
figured
also
just
chip in a little bit.
yeah, maybe with the just Sage and Insect token. Yeah.
Yeah, I think actually I'd just do the insect token. If we attack with both of those, then their hacker can attack back, and we don't really have anything we want to trade for it.
Totally.
But here we'd be happy to throw a sage in front of it.
Okay. Again, I gotta start playing faster.
Yeah.
It's a shame that the what do you call it? Harrier Strix annoying. The replays aren't working right now. It's a bit of
Yeah, apparently they're supposed to be back by the end of the year, but they've been down for like 8 or 9 months, so I don't know about
yeah,
that.
right? Yeah.
Because I would love to do this with replays where we can actually take our time a little more.
Yeah, I was like considering, because I was like, I was at work. I was thinking maybe I could like screen record a game on my lunch break, maybe get like a good one. But like, I don't know, I just didn't.
That's interesting.
I assume let it happen. 'Cause this, I don't think it gives them the 2 lands, but this would just go away. I don't gain anything out of sacrificing it, except for depriving them of the lands. But
Yeah, I think I'd let it go off. You also make it so their hacker can't attack. But if they attack with the hacker, you can maybe sack the Sage and block with the insects. And also, they only have 2 cards, so maybe you just let it hit you. But the Rusalka's really high value, and they only have 2 cards, so if we can get it through a counter spell, it can be really good. But if you have the appropriate mana and sack fodder, it just shuts down their whole deck because it can kill just about anything.
Yeah, and then if they swing in both, I could sack Sage, block hurt a Moonstrucker Hacker with the Vampire, and Insect with the Strix.
Yeah, although the Strix just came down, so it's not going to be attacking. But
oh yeah, sorry.
But otherwise, yes.
So
yeah,
sack here and.
Yep. The only thing is I would have blocked first, because if they have like a snap now, they could get rid of your Vampire, and you already did the sacrifice and you haven't blocked the damage. But otherwise, I think it's fine. And also good to note that even if they had a Humbling Elder there, you could still kill their guy and wouldn't lose your Vampire. So
yeah,
just good to know what they could have and if it will affect your combat.
Okay, so another flyer. I assume I don't want to... Actually, Spell Stutter's 2 mana, right?
Yep.
So I guess... What's he get? Okay.
Nice.
I could, because even if they Force Spike, I can pay for it to get the Plague Rusalka through, so I figure playing Swamp Rusalka so I can, like, just pay for it if they do end up trying to counter it with the Force Spike.
Yeah. In general, I think that's a really good play. But right now, with Shambler Stamina, you could do the same thing and have a Shambler Stamina go off. Maybe they have a Spell Pierce, but if they're playing Force Spike, they're probably not playing Spell Pierce. So we can attack with the Vampire for a bunch of damage, but also just make like 4 1/1s, and against their board, that's probably just going to kill him in like 3 turns.
Okay, so you say Shambler first.
Yeah.
Shambler Stamina, combat, try and swing in with the Vampire, and then second main?
Yeah, well, I would play our land, so that we're playing around Force Spike as much as possible. Yeah. Play the Shambler, and then you can go to combat since your stamina is instant speed.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then just attack
just the Vampire?
Yeah, I think that's probably fine. Insects are good to block ninjas. The only way they really get back into this is if they get some ninjas down. And if they just take it, stamina the Shambler, and always count your damage, because theoretically we could deal 19 here. I don't think we have quite enough, because we're going to get 6 triggers total from a Shambler, which would be 12 damage. 2 insects would be 16. So if we had played the Rusalka, we could deal him 19 here, but I think it's probably fine. So yeah, now you can go for as much damage as you want, but I would probably leave some creatures around too, just because
I figured keeping the Shambler up in case of another stamina.
Sure. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. And is it worth it?
I think I probably would just pass without it, playing it, because if it gets Force Spiked, it's kind of bad. Force Spike's the only thing they could have there, and the next turn we can play.
We can't even use it.
We can't even use it this turn. Yeah. This is worse if they have a Spell Stutter Sprite, and now we've allowed them to untap their mana into a Spell Stutter Sprite, and now we don't have the Rusalka down. But I don't know. If we're reading a Force Spike there, then might as well not play into it. Nice.
So I could do 3, 5, 7 maximum here. I figure just keep the pressure on with swinging in with Vampire.
Yeah, I think that's good.
And pass, not keep the mana up, you know?
Yeah, I think so.
And of course,
yeah, it is possible in retrospect.
No reason to
playing the Rusalka before was better, because now it is awkward and kind of hard to play. So, and if it gets Force Spiked, maybe that just happens. But I'm thinking about it more, and might have been better to do that before.
Oh, okay.
But in any case, I think we're in a pretty good spot.
Is it, I would say, worth to just get in for one and save the Shambler in the event of another stamina, or?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Pumping to 3 damage here doesn't put them like super close to dying. They're at 7 still.
Yeah.
Even if you go in the Squirrel 5, like we don't quite have the damage to deal, so I think I just like preserving our resources here. But the good thing is they have to do something against us first, like this.
Huh. I guess sack it because it dies anyway.
Yep.
And they don't get the mana back. Yeah.
And why would they be snapping our token here?
Yeah, I don't. I figure that's just them. It's just misplay.
I think it's probably because they have a Moonstrucker Hacker they want to get down with this Strix, so they're taking away our only blocker. Is my assumption.
Oh, okay. Or maybe they weren't. Yeah, weren't aware of. Maybe that interaction.
Yeah, that is also possible. They could have had another ninja or some other reason to do it, but yeah, didn't realize that they wouldn't get it back. It's a good draw.
I figure I kind of want to. Pardon me. If they have the Spell Stutter Sprite, they can't sprite it.
Yep.
I would do the Fiend, right? No reason. Or Rusalka Fiend.
Yeah, I think I might Rusalka and then Fiend, and then sack the Fiend to the Rusalka, to just kill their Strix. Because if they don't have creatures, they're not going to win the game. So we could pump the Bloodthorn Vampire, but then they're going to be forced to chump block with the Strix anyway, which means we're going to lose all of that damage. Whereas if we just kill the Strix, then we're going to get in for some more damage, you know? Oh, I think you might have targeted your Fiend with this Rusalka. Maybe I'm crazy.
Didn't I sacrifice a creature, target creature?
I think you target first. Sorry, I just want to make sure you're not... Yeah, so target
choose target creature. Yeah.
All right, I didn't want you to
gotcha.
Target
yeah,
the with
thank you for pointing that out. That would have been devastating.
Yeah.
See what they got.
And they have the Force Spike we played around and a Ninja that we thought they probably had.
So, and here I could 3, 5, 7 maximum. So I'd say maybe getting rid of the Ninja, because I can get in for 2 this turn and possibly 7 next turn.
Yep, sounds great. Also, we can just play around the Force Spike now that we know it definitively is there. It did work out that we didn't play the Rusalka. I'm going to assume they probably had that Force Spike back when they were holding up the 1. So maybe it worked out the way we played it.
Yeah. Okay, very Miscreant.
So if we draw any creature here, we can kill the Miscreant with the Rusalka and attack for 7. Nice.
Cool.
We are under 5 minutes, so again, I want to play fast, and this is a tough one to play fast. So just do your best. I will try not to interject too much.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I feel like even of course, I don't want to be timing out in like a league game, but I'd keep this.
This hand's incredible. It's one of the best hands you can have. Shambler plus Stamina plus Vampire is so much damage.
Cool. Okay. Shambler here?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. Well,
they both shamble. To be honest, I think Gas might have been better. If we don't currently have a way to sacrifice it, but if we get like a Village Rites, then we can hold it up as a way to kill like a Spell Stutter Sprite, which is relevant. They're drawing a lot of cards. I would also make sure to just like F6 through their turns, save a couple extra seconds when we're this low. When we don't have anything to activate, that is.
Yeah. So getting the Hacker.
Yep. Okay. So we can just get down a Vampire. Ooh.
Yeah, right. Just Vampire. And,
yep. Yeah. And probably just pass so you have a blocker.
Yeah.
But we have double Stamina. If they tap out again, which, turn 3 is usually when they start holding up mana. But if they tap out again, we can go Shambler, Stamina, and just make a million 1/1s, which could just win the game on their own.
Okay. I guess let it or sack it so he can just play the other one.
I think I'd probably let it go back to hand.
Okay.
It's kind of tough. You still have a blocker for their Ninja, but if they untap and play another Ninja with the Miscreant, it's kind of rough. We do have another one, which makes me want to sacrifice it, but if they then like counter the second one, we're in a really bad spot.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I want to keep it. We could have also done a wacky play that I don't think is probably very good, but we could have sacked the Ghast, made a treasure, Stamina'd our Vampire, and then sacked it to itself. But that's a lot of stuff just to keep your Vampire on the field.
Yeah.
Just something I noticed, though.
And I figure blocking here into the Hacker.
Yeah, sounds good. Even if they have like a Humbling Elder or something, we can just ping it down with the trigger. And if they don't, we'd be able to trade it for the Miscreant too. Yeah, they don't even want to trade.
Yeah, getting a Ninja.
Ninja's not great, but if they had left up 2 mana, it'd be really hard to play our Vampire into a Spell Stutter Sprite, so it might be better this way for us.
Ooh. A Vampire Shambler here?
Yeah, I think so.
And then just pass?
Yeah. I mean, again, if they tap out, somehow we hit with a Vampire for 12 damage, and then we Rite of Consumption for lethal.
Of 1 mind. I mean, I'm hoping they don't have if they have a snap, it's pretty heckin' bad, but...
Yeah, another snap would not be great.
Another just the flyer.
Yeah.
Figured. Discarding an island. 1 mana. They could counter Stamina. There's a part of me that wants to... maybe just getting another Bloodthorn Vampire, so even if they have the snap, they can't... there's another source for it, and then just Vampire pass is what I'm thinking.
Well, I think the only thing they can counter with for 1 mana is a Force Spike. So if we just play around that, our stamina should go off. So I would to attack with the Vampire and the Shambler here, and then just probably double Stamina. Stamina the Shambler, sacrifice it comes back, and then Stamina it again. They could also have a Humbling Elder here, but that's not too big of a deal.
Waiting to pay costs.
Yeah, so they do have this.
Humbling
So
Elder.
if they target our Shambler, we want to respond because they're going to shrink its power. Okay, they don't target it, so it's
Okay.
fine. But if they targeted the Shambler, we'd make fewer squirrels if that resolved, so we'd want to respond. But now we'll just let them go to blocks and...
See what they do.
Okay, if they
Oh,
don't...
okay.
Okay, you can
Double
stamina the Shambler. You can just win right here. Stamina the Shambler, sack everything, and
Sack
we
it.
right
Yeah.
of consumption because they didn't block. Also, we could sack the Shambler, the Shambling Ghast for an extra treasure, so we could double stamina here. That's kind of style points, so we should already have the win. They should definitely have blocked because this is going to be 7, 13. Yeah.
Just because in case
Oh, yeah.
you know.
You're good. Yeah, they tapped out. They did an Elder for no reason, and that's going to cost them. Oh, is that even lethal without the right?
It might be.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, you don't even need it. Who needs a right of
Oh,
consumption?
beautiful.
That's great.
Wow. Okay. I feel like that one maybe is like a little more talking about like the mistakes they made there.
Yeah.
And also it's a more typical matchup.
Yeah. So that, I think Fairies, with the list that I run and that you're running very similarly, I think Fairies is one of the toughest matchups. If it's a match you see a lot and you want to play better against it, you can put a lot more like removal in the sideboard or even main deck, like Snuff Outs and things like that.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I think generally you played it pretty well. I think game one, that carrion feeder attack,
Yeah.
we know that was not great. So yeah, just be mindful of like, that was game one. We didn't know what they were playing. So they play an island. You have to imagine every single deck that plays islands. So for me, the big three of Mono Blue is Mono Blue, Fairies, Terror, and High Tide. So against High Tide, you want to be as aggressive as possible because they don't have much of any interaction. They have some snaps and some ways to tap your creatures. So that's a reason to attack with the Carrion Feeder. Against Terror, you want to get as much damage in before they start playing Terrors as possible. That's another reason to attack with the Carrion Feeder there. Mm-hmm. But against Fairies, you need to be very, very careful because they had the Humbling Elder, but they could have also had Ilvoy Galeblade, the new guy from Edge of Eternities. That would have been a trade with our Carrion Feeder. It would have been better for us, but it still would have killed our feeder when we didn't want it to die, right?
So, and I feel like that's sort of thematically just in like pretty much every matchup with like a blue deck. It feels like just going the more cautious route until the point, of course, where like lethal is being presented. We're just being like, is the one damage isn't going to make a huge. I mean, it could be the difference against Terror, but like, probably not really. So like probably more often than not worth just assuming the worst. And if it is Terror, then shucks, 1 damage.
Yeah. 100%.
Okay.
I think I had a video maybe recently where I was playing it, and I think I passed like 2 or 3 turns in a row with a Carrion Feeder in that situation. And it was like, I might be missing out on 3 damage against a Terror opponent, but if I lose this feeder to a Fairies opponent, I will just lose the game right now.
Do you know by any chance, like offhand, which was that one of the trophy runs or like a live stream? I don't know if I've seen that video.
I am not sure, to be honest.
I can just look. I'll just look on my own time.
Sure. Yeah, I can't remember. I mean, for all I know, it was something I imagined or it was at locals or something, but I think I had a video of it.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's frustrating if you miss out on all that damage. I did have a time against somebody at my locals where I knew they were on Fairies, and like I said, they had 1 blue mana up for like most of the game, and I just never attacked with the Carrion Feeder because I didn't have any fodder for it. It was like 6 or 7 turns that I had to pass, and it sucked, but losing my feeder wasn't going to be better, right?
No, 100%.
So yeah, in that situation where we were just playing the Infestation Sage pre-combat so that you can make sure if they do Humbling Elder, you can just sack your Sage, keep your guy alive, and you're good. They did have, that was the opponent who ended up having 4 spikes, so maybe they would have 4 spiked that and that game would have played out differently, but at least you wouldn't have lost your feeder to a Humbling Elder.
Totally. Okay. Trying to think of any other. I probably should have been writing down questions I had as they popped into my head because I'm probably forgetting something. But yeah, I think that's like a thing that I but if nothing else, just kind of hammering home passing on as bad as it feels to pass mana up and just a Carrion Feeder on the board. Ultimately, that is the way you get the results into that deck. And I feel like so often just because of being we're scrappy black sack deck. I wanna get in for as much damage as possible. I fall into that kind of trap of being like, okay, let's get in here when I don't really have to.
Yeah, I think it's kind of tough to imagine because you have to balance like the percentage. Like, it's more likely that you're probably playing against Terror or High Tide or Demir Terror or something like that when you're up against one island. It's more likely you're not playing against fairies. And then in that case, it's right to attack. But if you are playing against fairies, as we talked about, what you're losing is so much more than what you're gaining in the other matches that it kind of outweighs it, right? Because it's 1 damage versus losing one of our best creatures. And so, yeah, it is really hard to like take that out of the abstract and put it in concrete terms. Like, when should I be attacking here? But yeah, like you said before, being cautious against the blue decks, especially when you don't know what blue deck it is pretty important.
And outside of that, barring like, oh God, what's his name? There's one dude who's always like racking up league trophies, who like almost exclusively plays Mono Blue Terror. I can't remember who it was.
Illuminati?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Barring that kind of thing where it's like, oh, okay, this guy has played Terror for every day for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, I can those situations I can be a little bit more, some presumptive.
Yes, yeah. If you queue into someone you know probably plays a deck, like if what we were doing there was, they played an island and I knew it was Illuminati who plays mostly Terror, I would have just attacked assuming they're playing Terror. In the 1 in a million chance they're actually playing a deck they don't usually play and they're playing fairies, maybe they get me, but generally, like, it's not something to think about too hard, but if you're against an opponent you know what they play, I think it's okay to make that assumption. Like, sometimes I'll queue into someone, a bigger creator or whatever, some grinder, and I'm like, oh, I know they play High Tide or Spy Combo or something. Yeah. This hand is not good against the deck I know they're going to probably be playing, and so I will sometimes mulligan based on that. It's not really, again, something to put a lot of stock into, but like it can be something to do for sure.
It's nice that when I queue into Barf, I know he's playing fairies, but also it's like, oh shit.
Well, that's
a rough matchup.
That's the other problem is it's someone who plays this deck all the time. They're very amazing at the deck, and also if it's a bad matchup for you, it's like, playing against Barf on fairies with Black Sack's definitely a challenge.
Yeah. Oh, it was Discovern, I think, was the guy I was thinking of.
Oh, yeah.
But since we had another thing that I mentioned, just because the New York Pauper League has they take incredible data with the metagame that we have currently, as well as just leaderboards and stuff like that. But I was thinking. Also, because right now this is what I've been running, I keep thinking about kind of running like a 2 Perigee Beckoner deck, but until I see, I don't know, I feel like I'm just gonna do that on MTGO maybe and games and see how that does, because I feel like the weird place that we're at with Beckoner and the results it's getting. But I was wondering, is it okay if I, as a last little thing, show you kind of because we have a metagame chart for our league in paper and kind of see, because this is, even, not including, what do you call it, Spinning Darkness, I don't have a copy and I just been too lazy to, order one off the internet. So that's why I haven't been playing with it on this. So, just kind of, trying to look at these things side by side and get your opinion on if there's any good
let's do it. I've been meaning to, one thing that once I started seeing what other people write for their guides, I realized a lot of people do have a section about tuning your list for your meta, and I did not have that, and I've been meaning to write or at least make a video on one. So yes, let's definitely look at it.
Yeah, so this is all time, which is all the seasons.
Okay.
But this is probably more accurate of what it is. It is I mean, it's fun to play in because it's diverse, but unfortunately, it is very diverse.
True, yeah.
But I think the thing that is, I mean, it's pretty I think that we have probably a bit more elves representation. We have a lot of players. We have at least 4 players who play elves regularly. But this is kind of the makeup of the league.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna be totally honest. The 5 decks at the top, none of those are amazing matchups for Black Sack.
Yeah.
Elves, Grixis Affinity, Rakdos Madness, Burn, and White Weenie. Rally's also not necessarily amazing, but it is better for us than Madness because we go wide, and we can
Yeah.
pick off guys easier.
I will say one of the white weenies is like a white weenie brew that has like that runs a lot of flyers. I actually I beat them last night to
Oh,
it
okay.
that it wasn't as bad, but I think it's white weenie is not as popular
Sure.
in
Okay.
general. So like it was like one actual white weenie and like a white weenie brew is kind
Okay.
of what that looks
Yeah,
like.
that's fair. I mean, the worst parts about White Weenie is like prismatic strands and just the fact they have a million attacker or a million blockers. So if it's a list
Yeah.
that doesn't run strands and maybe it has fewer blockers and things like that, then yeah, maybe it's not as bad. But yeah, so I would say so White Weenie and Elves and Rally are solved, or rather at least helped by the same card, which is Drown in Sorrow, right?
Yeah.
Um, Elves is really bad for us, but if you get one Drown in Sorrow, you can generally win the game.
Mm-hmm.
So with I think this is what 3 players per like 3 Elves players is what I'm seeing for the 11%.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
11, 3, 7.4
Yeah.
is 2, and then
Okay. So with 3 Elves players, and I know this is just 1 week, so I'm sure it changes a little bit, but if most people are coming every time and playing the same decks, 3 Elves, 2 Rallies, 1 or 2 White Weenies, maybe that's a reason to play like an extra Drown in Sorrow in your sideboard.
okay.
Like I could definitely see 3. I mean, you could go up to if you're like generally, I'm kind of okay against everybody else, but every time I play against this Elves player or any of the Elves players I like lose, you could go up to 4 Drown in Sorrows. Like if that is your silver bullet that you need to draw, you could definitely do that. I think 2 to 3 is generally where you want to be at, but again, if you're targeting your meta, put as many as you need.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
As for like this with like, because I like, because I'm trying to think of like the looking at the breakdown for the inclusion of one Rotten Reunion in the main board, because then it's like Rakdos Madness, Red Madness is like not as good, but like still something. We could at least get like the lava darts and like some of those other things that you flash back out of there.
Yeah, if they still play Snackers, that's a good one to get, right?
Yeah, Terror. I don't know. I guess like I'm like just like looking at this and like, what do you think the Rotten Reunion in the main board is worth it?
Yeah. So against the Elves, it doesn't do anything. I mean, beyond being a 2/2, right? But graveyard relevance doesn't matter against Elves. It's okay against Grixis Affinity because they have Blood Fountains, but I think like I wouldn't side them in which case I probably wouldn't care for it in the main deck because it's you just don't like by the time they're bringing things back to the Blood Fountain, you probably should have already won or lost.
Yeah.
So, but it's not irrelevant there, right? If you're playing it and you have a game 1, it is relevant. So that, I mean, that's 5 players playing Rakdos or Mono Red Madness. That's a lot. And Snacker and Lava Dart and Faithless Looting are good cards to pick out. White Weenie, it's good for Prismatic Strands.
Dimmer Terror, like the person who's in our league runs the Snackers and the Dimmer Terror deck.
Okay. Yeah.
I know. I lost them on that last night. But you think that I'll let you read through it.
I feel like I'm seeing about half of the opponents, maybe a little less than half, where it's good or okay, and I think half is probably good enough to have like one of those cards in there, right? Like, I mean, Sylvac Lifestaff is in your deck, or my list or whatever, and you're not going to run up against half decks that are really where it's really good, right? It's mostly good against that Rakdos, like the Madness and the Rallies decks. But like I find it good. Obviously online you see way more red, which is part of why I like it. But also that can be a tough matchup for us, and if you get it, it helps your win rate a lot, I think. But yeah, I think if you like the one of Rotten Reunion, I wouldn't say don't play it. Like if your meta was all Elves and Borosynth and all these decks where it didn't matter, I would certainly say cut it. But no, I think it seems fine in the main deck if you like it there.
Cool.
Yeah, I think maybe an extra Drown and Sorrow on the side could be good.
Yeah.
What else are we seeing? Crypt Incursion is okay. It does hit Snacker, and it's good for life gain against Rakdos and Mono Red. But there's no like Dredge or Spy combo or anything here where it's like amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that was one that I felt like it seemed like more like a lot of the decks where like I'm hoping to like get that life gain or that with a one of, it's so rare that I'm actually hitting it that I think that maybe just looking at all this stuff, maybe I might just like take that out for an extra Drown in Sorrow because of the amount of things that are that extra one would do better into.
Yeah, I think so for your meta. The only decks I'm really seeing that I would bring it in against would be the Rakdos Madness and the Mono Red Madness, in which case, maybe Rally, because they have a lot of creatures, but they're not, it doesn't hit snackers. But in that case, it's all the same decks that a Sylvok Lifestaff would be good against. So
Yeah.
maybe you just put an extra Sylvok Lifestaff in your sideboard, or if it's the card you want to cut to make room for the Drown and Sorrow, that could work. I did see you have an Unexpected Fangs in the sideboard, which is obviously great against red as well.
Yeah, and I feel like I think especially with that, like with like the having 2 life staffs and like the Unexpected Fangs, it feels like that. Yeah, no, I think that like, I mean, is it nice to have the Crypt Incursion? 100%, but I think that just like what's weighing back and forth of like what's more worthwhile, I think that maybe Crypt Incursion is the one that I switch out.
Yeah, I think so. And go ahead.
And the other one, I mean, I was asking since I mentioned that I've been too lazy to buy a Spinning Darkness.
Yeah.
I think looking at this, I feel like trying to remember like what Spinning Darkness is like really, really shines in. I guess for the Flame Breathers on Mono Red Madness, I think that
and Gutter Snipes for sure.
Yeah, and then is it? I guess elves too. Maybe I should maybe I should actually spend the money, the $2 shipping on the 30 cents Spinning Darkness.
Yeah, I mean, I have it in my sideboard because I like it. It would be one you'd bring in and would be really good against elves. Your Mono Red Madness, not as much your Rakdos. I would bring it in even against Rally because it still picks off a thing and gains you life. It's decent against. I'm trying to remember if I bring it in against on my guide here. It doesn't look like it, but like Grixis Affinity and Jund, it's okay to hit like a Kark, but it's not as good as like a Tragic Slip. So it does look like it would be good. So maybe if you want to pay for it, go for it. But if not, you could replace it with like another Tragic Slip, which fills the same removal role mostly. Obviously, it's not free; it's 1 mana, but it doesn't gain you life. Against elves, the life is pretty much irrelevant, but against Mono Red Madness or Rally, the 3 life is super relevant. So,
cool.
If you want to stay lazy with it, replace it with a Tragic Slip or something maybe. But it is a good card.
No, I think I should. Yeah, I mean maybe I would take out like Crypt Incursion. I'd pop out, and then maybe is taking out an Accursed Marauder in the place of the Spinning Darkness. Is he fitting? Because I don't want to play Drasalka not getting rid of. I want to have at least 2 reunions. Tragic Slip not getting rid of. Fiend's not getting rid of. I like Unexpected Fangs. I mean, just because, especially since we don't have the Crypt Incursion, Drown in Sorrows we're talking about, Spellbomb, Lifestyle. Yeah, I feel like, right? I mean, it doesn't, like, of course, it feels like it's a very tight deck on what we want to keep in the sideboard and main list, but, like, I don't know. Does that make sense to you? Or
I think that could be fine. The main decks that Marauder is amazing against are Bogles, of course, but I don't see any of that in your. Or there is Gruul Auras. Is that Bogles? It's Gruul, not.
It's with I don't remember what the list. It's with, what do you call it? Aura.
Gnarlid.
Aura Gnarlid.
Yeah.
I haven't played against. That's a recent. I think that's the first time they brought it in, and I haven't played against them. I don't think it's Bogles, but every once in a while someone will bring it, but it's not like a super common one.
Sure. Okay, well, yeah, Marauder is like imperative against Bogles, but we're not seeing it here. And it's very good against Terror, but your Terror decks are very low. You have 1 Dimir Terror, 1 Mono Blue, whereas, online, it's like 16% is Mono Blue right now or something. So I think you could lower it for that reason. I will say you already did cut 1 from the main deck, I think, right? So you only have 1 in the main.
Yeah, I have 1 in the main, and then so that would be 1 in the main, 1 in the sideboard.
Right. So yeah, just being aware that you're going from 4 to 2, but like I think with no Bogles, with fewer Terrors, it's also decent or okay against like Gruul monsters, which you have 1 of. There is also Is It Scred, which plays Terrors, and so it might be okay there. But like, elves, any removal you can have is nice, but ideally, Marauder's not really where you want to be. You want to be Drowning in Sorrow and stuff like that. And then the next several decks, it's not very good against Grixis Affinity, Rakdos. So yeah, I think if you want to cut a Marauder for your meta, that's probably fine. It is one of the like It's an incredible card in the deck, especially with Unearth. But
Yeah.
it doesn't look like you need it quite as badly. Oh, Mono White Heroic
Okay.
is a deck it's probably good against, to be fair. Because that's kind of Bogles-ish and can gain protection
Yeah.
from black for your targeted removal. But that's only a couple of decks that it's really needed against. So I think you could go down if that's what you want to do for the Sky Darkness.
Yeah, I'll just ask them really, really nicely to let me have 16 cards in the sideboard and see how that goes.
Okay, yeah. Let me know
But,
if that works, because I could use that too.
But yeah, thank you so much for this. This was like I'm super happy that we got the fairies as the second game there, because if I went between, like, if I got like two Poison Storm level decks, like if the second one was like White Hero, I mean, not that White Heroic, I don't know, it's not as common. But,
no, we got one of the staples of the format is definitely better to see.
And I think just like learning, just kind of hammering in some of those like play lines and, like, trying to I felt very helpful, so I appreciate that.
Good. I'm glad it helped. I mean, you said you should have been writing down questions and stuff like that. If something pops into your head that you're like, oh, I forgot to ask about this, feel free to just send me a message and I'm happy to answer it.
Cool.
Thank you for watching. Thank you to Aubrey for letting me put this video up on the channel. If you are interested in having me coach you through any Pauper deck of your choosing, then go ahead and check the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.